Hey, Shalom, welcome back. Giving all glory and praise and honor that's due to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah Shem Rakakwadash. That's the Most High, in the name of His only begotten Son and the Holy Spirit, and their true names that belongs to the apostles and elders of the great millstone, and peace, mercy, and grace to the household of faith. This lesson just going to be a lamb back on the recent video I did dealing with the Assyrian, what we call the Assyrian / Ezra script, which is the modern square script that we use today for the Hebrew language as it's written out. And this is just something to back up because we brought up the history on that on the last lesson on this same topic, and it mentioned that the imperial Aramaic alphabet was used in the Persian Empire. So I just kind of did some research and I was looking at more, and a brother put this in the chat. And this kind of just backs it up. So this is the actual Imperial Aramaic alphabet right here, which when you look at it, it looks similar to what we call the Paleo Hebrew, which is the early Aramaic alphabet. But yeah, like I said, you look here, it looks like a crossbreed between the Paleo and the modern day Hebrew, which this is what Ezra and the Jews were around in the time of the captivity, which is why when they came back to the Holy Land, they had this style of writing. This was the style of writing that they used, and then eventually it morphed and turned into what we have today. So let's just go ahead and read a little bit of this. This is modern Hebrew script is often called the Assyrian script, Katav Ashuri, or Ezra script because of its historical evolution. So the term Assyrian script comes from the belief that the square Hebrew letters used today originated from the Aramaic script, which was widely used in the Assyrian and Babylonian empires. So it's talking about this middle one right here. All right. Let me read the details on it. It says the Imperial Aramaic alphabet. This version of the Aramaic alphabet dates from the 5th century BC and was used to write Imperial Aramaic, the standardized and official language of the Achaemenid Empire. It was adapted to write Hebrew during the 5th century BC, and the modern version shown below is still used to write Neo-Aramaic dialects. And I was doing some research. I typed in, when did the Persian Empire use what did the Persian Empire use as language during the Achaemenid Empire? And it was what was the official language of the Persian Empire? It was they had a few languages, but it says the official language of the Persian Empire was Aramaic, Hebrew, Hindi, and Turkish. That's one source. Aramaic, here we go. Aramaic as a lingua franca during the Persian Empire. Okay, Aramaic. Who used Imperial Aramaic? The use of a single language, which modern scholarship has dubbed as official Aramaic, Imperial Aramaic, or Achaemenid Aramaic, can be assumed to have greatly contributed to the astonishing success of the Achaemenid Persians in holding their far-flung empire together as long as they did. Imperial Aramaic was highly standardized. Okay, and we saw the alphabet, but this is that alphabet. So if that was the key or the main, or as it says here, classical or Imperial Aramaic was the, let's read the top. Aramaic is a Semitic language which was the lingua franca, which I believe that means the main language of much of the Near East. But if I look it up. Lingua franca, which means a language that is adopted as a common language between speakers whose native languages are different. Okay. So English, if you go to another country and it's two different, tribal languages, they might have English as a common ground language. Like we can speak to each other in English, but we both have our own languages, which is common. All right, so the lingua franca of much of the Near East from about 7th century BC until the 7th century AD, when it was largely replaced by Arabic. Classical or Imperial Aramaic was the main language of the Persian, Babylonian, and Assyrian empires, and it spread as far as Greece and the Indus Valley. So yeah, so if this was the main language of the Persian, Babylonian, and Assyrian empires, right? If this was their alphabet, it would make sense that we adopted that alphabet. So when Ezra and the Jews came back from that captivity, it would make sense that they would use that alphabet. So let's get the history, the decree of Cyrus. So the return began with the decree of Cyrus the Great, the Persian king, in 538 BCE or BC. This decree allowed the Jews to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. Ezra chapter 1, verse 2, verse 3 records Cyrus's proclamation. The Lord, the God of heaven, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth and has appointed me to build a house for him at Jerusalem in Judah. Whoever among you belongs to his people, may his God be with him, and may he go to Jerusalem and Judah to build the house of the Lord, the God of Israel. So the role of Ezra and Nehemiah. Ezra, a scribe and a priest, returned to Jerusalem in 458 BC to restore the spiritual and religious life of the community. He emphasized adherence to the law of Moses and addressed issues of intermarriage with foreign nations. So now, why we call it the Ezra script? The name Ezra script is linked to the biblical scribe Ezra, who is traditionally credited with reintroducing and standardizing this script among the Jewish people when they returned from Babylonian exile, 5th century BCE. According to Jewish tradition, Ezra and the scribes promoted this script for writing the Torah and religious texts, replacing the earlier Paleo-Hebrew script. Why it became standard, the square Aramaic script, Katav Ashuri, eventually became the standard Hebrew writing system used in religious texts, including the Torah, Talmud, and modern Hebrew writing. So this is what we have today. So it makes sense why there's no more, why the Paleo-Hebrew pretty much disappeared over time, in that region. And why also you had the Paleo-Hebrew here in the Americas, because you had that northern kingdom that came over here. And clearly they didn't, fully abandon that alphabet and writing style, because they had artifacts with Paleo-Hebrew in them found in the United States. I think Elder Kazak Yala did that in Mississippi. So modern Hebrew is called Assyrian script because of its origins in Aramaic script used during the Assyrian and Babylonian periods. So let me say that again, because you hear Assyrian script, and the first thing that might come to mind is this is the script of the Assyrians, which is true, because it was used during the Assyrian and Babylonian empires, right? So modern Hebrew is called the Assyrian script because of its origins in the Aramaic script, right? Because it was used in the Assyrian and Babylonian empire, but its origin is Aramaic at the end of the day. So, used during the Assyrian and Babylonian periods, the Ezra script, because Ezra played a key role in the adoption among the Jewish people. So did Cyrus and the Persians use Imperial Aramaic? Yes, Cyrus the Great and the Achaemenid Persians used Imperial Aramaic as the official administrative language of their vast empire. So it was used in official decrees, contracts, and inspections across the empire. The Jews in Babylon and later in Judea also adopted Aramaic, influencing the development of Hebrew script and language. So this is a result of scattering, because if there was never a scattering, then there wouldn't have been a change in the language. But to fulfill the curses, going into captivity, Deuteronomy 28 and 64, it says, "And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there shalt thou serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. Okay, I thought I had one more in mind. But and also this goes into the discontinuing of the heritage eventually, because we ended up losing the our language, so to speak, from this. It only got worse from here. So Jeremiah 17 and 4. It says, "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger." Right, and during that time of Ezra, what was Ezra, captive at? Let's look at the map. Hear that wind? It's a cool map. So yeah, we was in a way over here somewhere. Way over there. And you can read it here. 2nd Ezra, the 1st chapter, verse 3, "The son of Aaron of the tribe of Levi, which was captive in the land of the Medes, in the reign of Artaxerxes, king of the Persians." This is Ezra. Right? He was held captive in the land of the enemies. Right? So yeah, I just wanted to bring that out. So it makes sense to, over time, how what we use today is the Hebrew. Because I was wondering, like, what is this script? Why is it called the Assyrian Ezra script? Where did it come from? Like, what's the history there? And it makes sense. It makes sense. During the second beast, right, the Persian and the Medial joint rulership, you had this script being one of the key languages, and our people adopted it. And then he was a scribe and a priest, so he was a Levite. So, he probably had a little bit of influence, or a good deal of influence as a Levite, and, beginning with him, this pretty much was like, hey, man, this is like the thing here. And it looks similar to the Paleo with slight changes, and then eventually it became the square script. So, I just wanted to add on to the previous lesson I did. I pray that was informative and edifying. All right, giving our praise to y'all about Shemel Shah. See y'all on the next one.